Scotty's here. How is everything going tonight? And how is the, I'm not going to say little one anymore, the teenager? All good. Good. Glad to hear it. My Cornish hen turned out outstanding. And she's doing better. Glad to hear it. Those field peas or field beans and snaps. Oh my God, are those good? Oh, you gotta try them. If they're in your supermarket, try them. The field beans or peas or whatever, they're like little baby pork and beans. And then, of course, green beans. Hey, the Runbow's here. All right, let's get started. Broadcasting live from beautiful downtown Cleveland, it's station WDWL TV. And I'm the grumpy old man, and we are a grumpy vulture production. No bow. Yeah, I was quite impressed with them. Uh, the sauce has a mild, like you can tell it's a southern seasoning, but delicious. Oh, I ate half the can, and I'll have the other half tonight. And then tomorrow morning I'll be driving down to Goodyear and Akron and filling the rest of the blimp. No, they're very, very good. I really enjoyed them. It was worth taking the chance. Although, I like the seasoned collard greens and, of course, the sweet potatoes. I'm like anything made by that company has got to be, a knockout, which it was. I was very happy that I took the chance on him. So I had half my Cornish hen, and I had the big helping of beans, and I had a little bit of mashed potatoes, and a little bit of sweet potatoes, and my cranberry sauce, and I had a plate full. And then, of course, I'm sitting eating, and Mr. Boots is hanging over the plate, and I'm like, all right, have some chicken. So I gave him quite a good sized piece, and he ate it all, and that made him happy. Of course, then I got extra massaging. I wish he wasn't such a mountain lion and I could trim his front nails. No matter what I do, I can literally bunch the blanket up in my armpit, and sooner or later he works it down, and then the claws. Ow, 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 that's skin, asshole. So, is everybody eating leftovers tonight? I know I am. I found a website with several different marinades that you can make for chicken, any poultry. So I'm going to the next Cornish hen. I'm gonna marinate it in whichever one of these I choose. Just see what kind of different flavor it gives, because I season mine with poultry seasoning. And, poultry seasoning has the usual, mainly it has a little more sage than I care for. And not paying attention, I kind of over seasoned it. But, oh, I'll tell you what, tucking them pats of butter under the skin, they melted down through the breast meat. Oh, God, was it not only tender and juicy, but what a flavor. A friend of mine, he takes his turkey and he brines it. I've never had it. He says his family loves it. Matter of fact, what he does is he gets a one of his coolers, and he makes the brine, and he puts the turkey in the cooler and soaks it in the brine for like 48 hours. I've never heard of brining a turkey, but he said. And then I've got another buddy that deep fries his every year. He's got a big deep fryer. Now, I've had deep fried turkey. I love it. I really love deep fried turkey. I wouldn't chance it myself because I have seen a lot of news articles where people set their houses and garages on fire because they put too much oil in, and then when they put the turkey in, the oil overflows and you have deep fried garage. God, I'll talk about deep frying. I'll never forget. This was years ago. Uh, my buddy owned the apartment building next to the one that I was in Lakewood. And it had to be like 2 in the morning. Somebody is beating on my back door, and I was pissed, wake my ass up, and I flung the door open. I was going to give somebody what for, and it was a fireman. And he says, I just want to let you know there might be a possibility of evacuation here. And I was like, what? And then I looked past him, and the top apartment on my buddy's building was on fire. And talk about stupid. This guy's girlfriend was deep frying wings. And she caught the stove on fire. Now, what do they tell you? Smother the fire. Smother it. No. She goes to the sink, gets a big pan of water, and throws it at the stove. Well, that splashed the oil onto the wall, and it set the wall on fire, and then the ceiling on fire, and the kitchen on fire. So the fireman says, you know the guy that owns this building? I said, yeah. I said, Terry's a good buddy of mine. He goes, well, will you call him and tell him his building's on fire? Oh, gee, thank you. So I wake Terry's ass up, and he's like, hello. I said, Terry? Yeah. Grumpy. What the fuck you calling me at 2:30 in the morning for? I said, your building's on fire. Man, did he wake up in a hurry. What? I said, yeah, the top floor of your building's on fire. I said, I suggest you get down here. I felt sorry for the people in the apartments below, because their apartments got saturated with water. It was a real mess. His insurance company ended up putting well, 4 apartments worth of people up in, I think they were in embassy suites, because the embassy suites have a kitchenette. So at least they could cook their own food. But yeah, the dumb bitch throws a pan of water at a grease fire. I had video of it somewhere. I'll have to see if I still have it. Yeah, I'll never forget him. Hello? Terry? Yeah? Grumpy. The fuck you calling me at 2:30 in the morning for? Your building's on fire. What? Yep. Your building's on fire. He showed up in his pajamas. He was like, oh. You've never enjoyed deep fried turkey? Oh my God. You would love it. It is excellent. It really is. Even, I'm not a dark meat fan. And even the dark meat was delicious. And the secret is basically which first of all, it's the temperature of the oil, and it's expensive because they tell you to use peanut oil. Well, you got one of them big deep fryers, you're buying like a gallon, give or take, of peanut oil. That shit's expensive. But oh, does it give the turkey a wonderful flavor? Oh God. I've had it twice. I made such a pig out of myself, my buddy don't invite me over anymore. Uh-oh. No, he quit. His son-in-law does them now, and his son-in-law lives in North Ridgeville. He don't even bring me any leftovers, bastard. But God, the instructions tell you, there are lines inside the deep fryer, and it tells you, like, this pound turkey, this, and believe me, it's best to add a little less oil, and then you very slowly lower that turkey in. As a matter of fact, I made fun of him. He had a boat winch, and he would slowly crank that turkey into the oil. Because another thing, first timers, they drop it in, whoosh. Then they're calling their insurance company going, hey, my garage burned down. And there are a lot of insurance companies that will not cover the damage from deep fryer stupidity. But it is, deep fried turkey, oh. I would like to get a small one and do a deep fried Cornish hen. I could actually, I've got a big soup pot. On second thought, I don't need to burn the house down. Matter of fact, the soup pot that I've got is a Martha Stewart. Oh. It was a gift. I used to make chili in it, but it's too freaking big. It's I can't remember what type of aluminum it is. Boy, I'll tell you what, it heats up quick, and boy, does it hold the heat. But it says right on it, Martha Stewart cookware. This time of year, it's hilarious going into like Target. And you go back in the cookware section, and you got Rachel Ray cookware, Martha Stewart cookware, Guy Fieri cookware, Emeril Lagasse cookware. And now there's a new one. It's called Made In. Made In. Referring to Made in the USA. But that's the name of it. Made In. I might, as much as I hate the Bullseye store, I might just go wander around one day and look at all the cookware. Then go to Goodwill and buy a soup pot. I also have a small casserole with a lid that was another gift, and it's that La Cruzette. Oh man, that is dynamite cookware. The price is dynamite too. I'm glad it's a gift. It's a porcelain coated cast iron. It's a wonderful, you know, it's an oval. I can't remember, 2 quart, maybe 3 quart casserole with another item I don't use, back in the corner of the cupboard. I did back in the day when I cooked a lot, but matter of fact, yesterday was the most real cooking I've done in a while. And it only took me 45 minutes. The side dishes I microwaved. But that 30 minutes, pardon me, 45 minutes in the air fryer at 390. And that bird turned out perfect. Tender, juicy. I was quite impressed. The air fryer does it again. Then today I was looking at my jars of pickled beets and eggs, going, okay, 6 more days. Yeah, they tell you to go at least 7. Of course, the longer, the darker the eggs get. And what I did was I took a fork and I poked 2 sides. And that way the yolks will be purple too. Yeah, I have two sauerkraut jars. 6 eggs, a bunch of beets, and the brine was just enough where I was able to fill both jars almost to the top. And then I let them cool, and then I put the lids on and popped them in the fridge. So next week, I'll be trying them. I emailed my sister today. I said, please send me your deviled egg recipe. I want to try it. I'm still kind of undecided whether I'll do a Cornish hen for Christmas. I've got plenty of time to think about it. Maybe do it, use one of those marinades and give it a shot. Now that I know it's so easy in the air fryer. So is everybody enjoying leftovers at your house today, Kathy, or did they take leftovers home with them? That was one thing about my grandmother. She always packed to go plates for everybody because she didn't want to be eating turkey for a week. Now, with me, what I used to do with the leftover turkey, I'd make turkey salad, just like you make chicken salad. I'd make turkey salad. Although, oh, cool. Your daughter came over and ate and then took leftovers. Good. You had company again today, and she'll have leftovers to take to work for lunch. Although I have put the word out to two of my friends that do ham for Christmas. I told them both, I want the ham bone because I'm going to make split pea soup. And there is nothing better than putting a whole ham bone It, my grandmother used to do it, and a lot of people will, they'll put in diced ham. Putting the bone in really kicks that flavor up. And then when the soup is done, the bone comes out naked. Now, that is one thing I don't mind if I eat several days. Homemade split pea with ham soup. Because I found a big bag of split peas on the top shelf in my cupboard. I forgot I even had them. So after Christmas, oh, Kathy, I could eat it until it's gone. That is one thing. I make a big pot. Well, you have to in order to get the ham bone in there. But that is one soup I love. Because what I do is I buy oh God, I forget it's cubed ham. You get it in a package, a cubed ham. I can't remember. It's not Hormel. Now I get the package of cubed ham. I put that in, and then I put the ham bone in, and oh, dynamite. Absolutely dynamite. So the old Martha Stewart pot will come out for that. Then I'll have to rearrange in the fridge to get that big ass pot in on the bottom shelf. Man, did we have fucking snow! Holy shit! There had to be 4 inches out there. I looked out the window and there was that much snow on the roof of the car. I'm like, and then what made it worse is it froze. Because we had during the afternoon a light drizzle. So that froze, and then the snow on top of it. You talk about slick driving today. When I looked out the window, I went, holy yutcha fuck. Too early for this shit. There was easily 4 inches out there. Easily. If not more. So I shoveled a path back to the garage. And I got my leaf blower out. But the snow was too heavy. I ended up having to get a shop broom. Oh, they did? You believe the snow we had? See, usually if the snow is light enough, I could blow the car off with a leaf blower, you know. My neighbors think I'm crazy. I'm out there. But this shit was too heavy. I had to get the shop broom. Clear the car off. Then my hands were frozen. So I started the car and I let it idle in the driveway for about Yeah, about 20 minutes. So it was warm when I got in. Then I had to go up to Mark's. Had to pick up a few things I forgot on Wednesday. Oh, yeah, it was a heavy, wet snow, which made it worse. And then my asshole neighbor across the street, Rob, he's out with his snow thrower, okay? He cleans his driveway, his sidewalk. He cleans the street in front of his house. And then he cleaned the street in front of the house next door. You think he would at least run his snowblower to make me two pats? I didn't want him to do the driveway, but you think, he would look across the street and go, oh, he's going to have to get out. So all I would have wanted was two pats. So I made two pats with the Passat. Yeah, it was wet enough and dense enough. Yeah, you could have made snowmen easy. Or snowballs. I should have made a bunch and thrown them at Rob. That's all right. I got out, I went to the store, I backed in, and then I just went down to the sidewalk and back 3 or 4 times. That traction control is amazing. I've had front wheel drive vehicles, and sometimes they're a bitch in this weather. That is amazing. Because when a wheel starts to slip, the computer automatically applies the brake to slow the wheel down. I am quite impressed with that car. I really am. It's only the second Volkswagen I've ever owned. Back in 1970, I had a Beetle. And I painted it black and yellow. It looked like a bumblebee. And I had it for, a little over a year. And I was working out on Engle Road across from the Ford plant. I was working for a private bus service at the time. I was a dispatcher. And I would get on 237 to 71 and come home. And it was I want to say it had to be like the end of September, the beginning of October. It was just starting to get a little chilly. And I'm coming down 237 and I hit 71 north. And I look in the rearview mirror and there's flames coming out of the engine compartment. I pull over to the side, rip the license plates off, and walked away. I let it burn to the ground. I don't know what the hell caught fire, but I looked back and the whole back end of the car was on fire. I was like, holy shit. I pulled the license plates off, and the guy stopped, offered me a ride home. He said, "What are you going to do with the car?" I said, "I'm going to leave it burn. There ain't nothing in it." Yeah, the poor bumblebee turned into a crispy critter. That was the last Volkswagen I owned until this one. And you know the amazing thing, and it's a mental thing. I have seen more goddamn Passats since I started driving this thing. I never realized there were that many in the neighborhood. Matter of fact, there's one up the street from me. I never paid attention to what it was. Until the other day I went, "Wait a minute." And I backed up. I went, "That's got a VW symbol on the grill." I pulled up and I looked and I went, "Holy shit, it's a new Passat." I have probably seen 20. And it's the thing, you don't notice it until you're driving one. And then it's amazing how many Volkswagens are in the neighborhood. Jettas, Golfs, what's that goofy van, the Rotten or something? The Volkswagen Rotten. Now my neighbor's got a Tiguan or whatever, however you pronounce that shit. Volkswagen's got more goofy names. What the hell was the one years ago? Nobody could pronounce it. It was another weird one. I can't think of it. Because I even remember the Volkswagen commercial. People were mispronouncing it. Then finally, at the end, they gave the German pronunciation. I can't remember the name of that stupid car. It was either late 70s or early 80s. I can't think of it. All I know is nobody ever pronounced it right. Because my neighbor's got the SUV, the Tiguan, and then the guy up the street, which I never paid any attention until recently, he's got the big one, the Atlas. But that van, that Rotten or oh God, would I would give my left ball for a goddamn Mazda Miata. Yeah, that's a Miata MX-5. Matter of fact, I'd give both of my nuts for one of them. I love them little cars. But boy, I'll tell you what, even for a 30-year-old one, people are asking ridiculous prices. because that car was so popular. They actually had a racing division. Yeah, the old Miatas. Oh, I like the original. Now the new one is pretty decent, but I like the original. It's actually a little smaller. But yeah, Miata. Oh, I would love to have one. There's a guy a couple of streets over. He's got an older blue one, and I have tried to buy that car, and he had just wants a ridiculous amount of money for it because they're ultra popular. But yeah, the MX-5, the Miata. Because they have two versions. They have the one with the soft top, and then they have the one with the hard top that turns into a convertible. Yeah, I would give anything for because most of them are manual transmission too. That's a true Miata owner, someone that likes to roll through the gears. It's like, God, I read an article not too long ago. It's like 70-30. 70% of them come out of the factory with manuals, and 30% come out with automatics because everybody wants a manual. They're hot little cars. Oh, yeah. And they're fast, too. As a matter of fact, oh, Christ, it's got to be. When the Miata first came out, yeah, that hardtop folds into the trunk and it turns into a convertible. Yeah, they're tiny and fast. I remember when the first year, I was still freelancing for a couple of auto magazines. And I went to the Cleveland Auto Show and I met the guy that actually designed the Miata. And the interesting thing was his brother was his twin brother was a designer for General Motors. Here's twin brothers, both auto designers, one working for Mazda and one working for GM. Because that was one of the few times that I actually did an interview with the designer. Matter of fact, I got good money for that article and the pictures. I had a lot of help writing the article because I'm not a writer. I actually miss those days. I made some good money freelancing. That's why it pisses me off. These YouTube idiots. Oh, I'm an independent journalist. Yeah, bullshit. Everybody's an independent journalist. I was a credentialed independent journalist. I could go on YouTube and do news stories and say, I am a real independent journalist. Yeah, every year I had to renew my credentials. This one says photo correspondent. You know, nowadays you go out with an iPhone and, you know, you irritate the fuck out of the police and go, you can't do anything to me. I'm an independent journalist. Yeah, you're a lying sack of shit, too. I'd like to tell some of these guys, you give independent journalists a bad name. We get a bad rap from them assholes. Oh, I'm an independent journalist. Just because you have a YouTube channel? I still have a shitload, and I mean a shitload of photography equipment. Oh, God. I can't part with it. I haven't used it in years. I told you in my bedroom I've got that 5 foot by 5 foot by 24-inch rack in my bedroom. It's got 4 shelves. Two of the shelves are nothing but my old photography equipment. Every now and then I blow the dust off it and open the cases and go, I miss you. Although it was nice getting into the auto show for free. Used to piss people off. They'd be standing in line. I'd go right up the steps, in the door. The security guards would be like, hey, hey, hey. I'd show them my ID. I says, I'm going right there to the journalist window to sign in. And the neat thing was, if I was doing a photo shoot, I could actually ask security to keep people out of the fucking way until I got done with my pictures. Because it never failed. You're lining up for a shot and some asshole wanders through in front of you. Get out of the way! I'm trying to take a picture. So I would tell security, hey, I have to go over to the Ford display. I have to go over to the Toyota display. And then I tell them, over at the Ford display, I have to photograph such and such and such and such. At the Toyota display, I have to photograph these two cars. So I'd finish up like at the Ford display, and then we'd go over, and security would be, everybody stay out of the way. I'd have cameras on tripods all over the place. Snap a picture here, snap a picture there, snap a picture there. Because I'd have a tripod at the rear, at the front, at the side. Snap, snap, snap. All right, as soon as I fold everything up, we're done. Christ, I got a shitload of crap in here, too. Matter of fact, I have these in every size. They're monopods. People today call them selfie sticks. You mount the camera, and it holds it steady so that you can snap a picture. That way you don't have to have a tripod. God, I probably have 50 of these in all different sizes and thicknesses, and some have a tripod base on the bottom. Yeah, they're kind of neat. They fold shut, adjustable heads. A shitload of money. Although I made good money. Because all I did was auto stuff. Because one time I went out and I photographed a bunch of engines out at the Ford plant, and then Chevy Parma. They used to do transmissions over there, and for I'd get an assignment going, hey, we're gonna write an article on the TMH 740 automatic transmission. Go over to Chevy Parma and take several pictures of the transmission. Okay. Snap, 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 snap. Send the pictures in. Get the check. Those were the days when you got a check. None of this direct deposit stuff. A check. But it actually got to be a headache after a while. And got too expensive. Of course, I wasn't happy with one camera. God, just in this room alone, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 cameras. Six. Just right here. Now, I like the deer photos, I ran to the window with my DSLR, snap, got a picture of the buck out back. So I trade off just to make sure they're all working. But the ones in the bedroom, they've been collecting dust. Plus, I got video cameras in there. Yeah. I have VHS video cameras. Do I part with anything, Kathy? No. When's the last time somebody wanted a VHS movie taken? I have 4 I got 2 regular VHS and 2 VHS-C, which those are, they use a cassette. And then you still, what you do is you pop the cassette in an adapter that looks like a full-size VHS, and it plays the cassette. He was here first thing in the morning, and then somewhere between 8 o'clock and 10, he left. Because I was looking, and he was behind the big shrub, and I saw the rack because he moved. And I was like, oh, he's back there. And then around 10 o'clock, the rack was gone. I don't know where he went, but they'll be back. I'll have them constantly now. Mainly because they're getting the hell out of the woods because of hunting season. They ain't dumb. It's rare to have one or have any 7 days, but I might have a couple on Monday and then Wednesday one. Yeah, I've always got, from now until, I would say, February, they'll be coming and going. But my backyard is the only yard in the neighborhood. Because I have talked to many neighbors. And I even talked to Jasmine, my letter carrier, and I says, when you see somebody out, ask them, have you ever have deer in your backyard? And she said, nope, nobody. I don't know why they're safe. And like the guy from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources told me that deer are like elephants. They pass it down. So, grandma passed it down to her daughter, and her daughter passed it down, and it's like, here's a safe spot, you can go here. Because I don't bother them. I always look out the window first. And I will even delay going like grocery shopping because I don't want to scare them. Although with the Passat, it's not as noisy as the shitbox, I'd fire that thing up with the glass pack and the the neat thing is to look out and they'll be covered in snow. And all you see is a head, because they'll tuck their head down, and if they hear something, the ears come up. They they love that shrub. It must be their favorite food because they're always munching on that thing. It's like, okay, I don't have to go out there with the hedge trimmers. You guys take care of it for me. And whatever weeds are growing back there, they're constantly munching. I don't care. You see what the backyard looks like. Fucking jungle. I don't use it for anything, so screw it. Let it grow. It gives the deer a home. Just once, I would like to wake up and find a little deerlet. Because then it would be guaranteed for at least 6 weeks, maybe longer. Because unless they really get scared, Mama ain't going to be moving it. She'll just tell it, stay here. Don't move. I'll be back. That's like, the rangers always tell people, if you come across a deerlet in a field, leave it there. People are like, oh, Mama abandoned it. I'm going to take it to, No, you leave it there. Hey, look who's here. Long time no see. How was your Thanksgiving? Ron and I had Cornish hen. We're starting a new tradition. Instead of Happy Turkey Day, it's Happy Cornish Hen Day. Baby turkey. I would love to see a Cornish hen farm. Those suckers gotta look cute. Little dinky 2-pounders running around. Although on second thought, no, because then I wouldn't want to eat one again. Go, oh, them cute little birdies. Just think, you could raise like 4 or 5 Cornish hens for every chicken. They're more compact. I've never seen one. I've seen pictures. I'd like to see them. I guess I have to go to the fair. I'll have to go to the fair next year. That's the only place you're going to see Cornish hen, I think. You see every other form of poultry. God, it's been about 10, 15 years since I've been to the fair. God, if my cat walked on my phone, he'd break it, the big pig. My McDonald's 22-pounder. Big boy. Although, after the last time I picked him up, he won't come in here anymore. He's like, oh, he's camera shy. Well, he's practicing for in another month. The New Year's, they'll be telling you Happy Thanksgiving. That's cute, though. Then he thinks it's New Year. Although, don't rush it. Jesus Christ, the years go by fast enough the way it is. It's hard to believe the year's almost over. I no sooner get used to writing 2025, and now I'll be have to. God, hard to believe 2026, just around the corner. I still remember the big computer scare, Y2K. Everybody was convinced at midnight when it turned 2000, the whole world was going to shut down. Like, oh no! Some people were downright scared. They're like, oh my God, at the stroke of midnight, everything's going to just. They were cringing. Stroke of midnight come and went. Oh, well, my computer's still working. Yeah, Y2K. God, that scare went on for the whole year. There wasn't a day that went by you didn't see a news article about this group afraid that the computers were going to shut down. The world was going to shut down. Everything was going to come to a stop. I was sitting at my computer waiting for it to click over. Bink. Oh, I'm still on the air. Or still online. I wasn't doing a show then. I remember last year I had the big monitor back here. I had Times Square on that big monitor. I'll have to do it again this year. I'll bring that big monitor in and stick it back here. Do a New Year's show. Then watch the ball drop. Bonk. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I still have that computer and that monitor set up on that stand. I'll just have to bring it in and stick it right here, and we can do a New Year's Eve show. Maybe start a little later. I don't think anybody could put up with me from 7 o'clock to midnight. We'll have to start like 9 or 9:30 and go to midnight. I'll bring that monitor in and we can watch Times Square on the monitor. New Year's Rockin' Eve. Used to be Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. I miss him and Casey Kasem. I used to love on Sunday morning, Casey Kasem would do a Pop Hits Countdown show every Sunday on the radio. And every Sunday I would listen to Casey Kasem. Yeah, I miss him and Dick Clark. I'll tell you another one I really miss. Paul Harvey. I love Paul Harvey. Every day at noon, he would do he'd come on, I don't know, he'd be on for like 15 minutes every day at noon. Paul Harvey, good day. He was great. I love Paul Harvey. I loved his sign off. Paul Harvey, good day. Yeah, the three biggies I used to love: Paul Harvey, Casey Kasem, and Dick Clark. Hey, Kathy, do you remember Upbeat? The Cleveland musical show Upbeat? I think it used to be on Saturday. It was on for like half an hour. Upbeat. And every Saturday they'd have a different musical guest. And then they had the Upbeat Dancers, that group of girls. Well, believe it or not, one of the Upbeat dancers was a girl I dated in high school. Upbeat dancers. You don't remember Upbeat? That was back, oh, probably before your time. Like 69 and 70. Used to be on, I think, at noon on Saturday. It went for an hour. Or was it 30 minutes? Oh, God, I'll have to email Camille and ask her. Was the show half an hour or an hour? She was. Because she did some modeling and she thought she was going to have a career and it never took off. Every now and then on her Facebook page, she posts a modeling shot. Like she did a couple by Lake Erie not too long ago. She puts her old pictures up. I look at them pictures and go, wow, was I stupid to break up with her? Yeah, she was one of the upbeat dancers. I can't remember who hosted it. Webster. What was his first name? I think he was the weatherman. Dick Webster, Don Webster. I think Don Webster. I think he was on Channel 5. Don Webster. I think he was a weatherman. Yeah, Don Webster hosted Upbeat. Yeah, Don Webster. I think he was a weatherman. Wow, it's going back too far for me. My brain is frying. Smoke coming out of my ears. I'm overworking my brain. Yeah, as a matter of fact, Paul Harvey's son took over for a while, but he didn't sound like Dad. That was the problem, and he used a different sign off. He didn't want to copy his father. But I remember his son did it for a while. But Paul Harvey, he had that soothing type voice. And then his sign off, Paul Harvey, good day. Back in the good old days. And then I used to listen to Rush Limbaugh. Then he got a little too controversial for me. Matter of fact, the radio I used to have in here looked like something from the 1920s. It was a cathedral, one of them the old cathedral style radios, but a newer version. AM, FM, and it had a cassette player in the side. But it looks like something from the 20s or the 30s. I'll bring it in one day. I got it. It's stored out in the living room. I used to have it on a shelf right up in the corner. And then I didn't have the shelf mounted in the studs. And one day the shelf started to go. I was like, whoa! Grab that radio. I never did fix it. All I did was took a little putty and filled the holes in where the shelf used to be in the corner. Now I have a blue milk glass hanging lamp. Which this thing's got to be, 50 years old easy, if not older. Maybe 60. Yeah, it's blue milk glass. It looks like an upside down flower. God, I haven't turned that thing on in ages. I think the switch is down here somewhere. Where's the switch? Well, maybe the switch ain't down here. Ah, there we go. God, it's been quite a while since I had that thing turned on. Actually, it gives a nice light in the studio here. It's the first time I've had this thing turned on in probably 2 years, maybe 3. It's been hanging here collecting dust. Is that what it's called? Delphite? It's I'll tell you, it's gorgeous. It's got like it's like a dark powder blue, but it's got like milky strains through it. It's a beautiful lamp. I guess maybe I'll have to dust it. I'll have to dust it one day. Let me switch it off. If I can find the switch again. That's probably the first time I've had that lamp on in 3 years. I used it all the time. I used it for like a nightlight. If I'll have, I'll have to take it down and clean it with some awesome spray. And then I've got one in the living room that is a two-tone brown milk glass type That one is round, and it's got scalloped edges on it. That one I haven't used in probably 10 years. And then I've got a Tiffany style out in my kitchen. And what color's the one in my bedroom? I've got one in my bedroom closet that, yeah, I've got four. They used to call them what, swag lamps? But these are old. These are, they gotta be 60 to 70 years old. I bought them all out of an estate sale. I paid $5 a piece. I come home with them and my wife went, "What the hell you bring that shit home for? You ain't hanging them up in our house." So they were stored for the longest time. And then when I lived up the street, I had the one in the kitchen, one in my bedroom, one in my computer room, and one in the living room. And then when I moved down here, I only put two of them up. The blue one and then the Tiffany in the kitchen. Because that one has got, it's like a cream color glass. And then it's got different pieces of colored glass. You got red and blue and orange and green, and yeah, it's looks like a Tiffany lamp. That one, as a matter of fact, the one in the kitchen was given to me as a housewarming gift in 1970. And it is hung in every kitchen of every house that I've lived in. Because over the summer, he asked me, "You still got that hanging lamp I bought you?" I said, "Yeah, it's in my kitchen." He said, "No, you're shitting me." I said, "No. Every house, it's always in my kitchen." Because when he gave it to me, we had it hanging over the kitchen table. And it goes in every kitchen. Matter of fact, he bought it in North Olmsted at a place called House of Lamps. I don't know if they're still there. But he bought it in 1970. And it's traveled from every house. Matter of fact, it was hanging in the kitchen of my apartment in Lakewood. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I ran into, as a matter of fact, up at Mark's. And we got to talking, and he goes, "What'd you ever do with that?" He called it a swag lamp. "That swag lamp I bought." I said, "It's hanging in my kitchen." "Oh, you're full of shit." I said, "Come on over and look. It's hanging in my kitchen." He couldn't believe I still had it. Oh, I cherish that thing, especially given it, my high school math teacher. Because he was a gearhead and so was I, and we worked on cars together. And when I bought my house in 1970, he gave it to me as a housewarming gift. And I told him, I said, we're not only friends, but I said, that was a cherished gift. I really, and I use it for a nightlight in the kitchen. I have a dimmer on it. And when I'm working in the kitchen, it's on full bore. And then at night, I turn it down. But the other lamps, they got to be 75 years old. Matter of fact, the one in the living room, the reason I don't have that one hung up, it's getting a little brittle. The leaded, it's leaded glass. And I cracked one of the lead pieces, and luckily I was able to solder it back together, get the glass back in, and so that one I don't really hang up too much because it's really getting brittle. But this thing, I used to use it all the time. That's the first time I turned it on in about 3 years. Yeah, it's got about 3 years worth of dust on it, too. Just saying. I am not Emily Post when it comes to. Or Emily Post was manners, wasn't she? All right, I'm not Martha Stewart. Wasn't Emily Post manners? Yeah, this thing, it's got multicolored glass in it. Now, the majority of it is like this cream colored, I'll say, milk glass. And then it has, all right, at the bottom it's got the milk glass. And then the next layer has got the colored glass. And then it's got the milk glass up on the top layer, and then it's got it looks like leaves at the top. It's beautiful when I've got it turned on because they're all different colors in the kitchen. But that has been in every kitchen of every place I've ever lived. Because when I move, I personally box it and I transport it. I don't want it broken. Well, I do it with all of them, but that one especially. Christ, the box is 3 times the size of the lamp and 47 layers of bubble wrap. Yeah, he couldn't believe it. I said, stop over the house. It's hanging in the kitchen, over the table. Matter of fact, my wife at the time hated it. That was wife number 1. She hated it. That's the ugliest goddamn thing. You ain't hanging that. I said, yes, I am. Watch me. I hung it up. She's like, oh, that thing's hideous. I felt like saying, well, so are you, but I keep you around. Needless to say, she became ex number one. Then there was X number two, X number three, X number four. And no number fives. Emily Post was etiquette. Okay. Wasn't she also called Miss Manners, or do I have her confused with somebody else? The name Miss Manners kind of sticks in my head. That was a big name, like in junior high and high school, Emily Post. Matter of fact, didn't she write a book? I could have swore there was a book in either junior high or high school that we had to read. Because I remember the teacher that, whatever class it was, she was big on etiquette. Just remember when you're drinking tea, keep the pinky up. Yeah. Oh! Okay, okay, the pinky's up. Give her a pinky in the eye. Ow! I can't remember what the hell she taught, but there was a couple weeks during the semester. Judith Martin was Miss Manners. Okay. Well, I think she did both. I think we had to read Emily Post's etiquette book, and that, yeah, oh, she was, oh. She was a trip. Because I remember we had to do place settings. She had all these frickin' card tables set up. And we had to put tablecloths, and we had to do place settings, and the knives and the fork, the butter plate, and then she would grade us. Fork number 3 is crooked. You get a minus there. Your teacup is turned the wrong way. Yeah, well, both of them, yeah. I remember both of them from either junior high or high school. Emily Post and Miss Manners. The teacher was a. Yeah, well, it didn't last long. Oh, she'd have had a shit fit if she'd have been in my grandmother's kitchen eating off a butcher paper with her hands. Oh, she'd have had heart failure. Like my grandmother. You heathens! Every Saturday. You bunch of heathens. And she'd be, did you wash your hands? Yeah, 3 days ago. Why? She'd give my grandfather a bunch of shit. Aren't you going to use a plate? My grandfather like, why? We got butcher paper here. Oh, God, the memories. Oh, Jesus. Makes me smile to this day. Especially when he'd unwrap the Limburger cheese. She had the fastest apron in the West. Open every fucking window, every goddamn door. It'd be weather like this. You bunch of heathen, you're stinking up my kitchen. My grandfather'd sit there and laugh. Oh, good memories. Oh, my God. Best memories on earth being with my grandparents. Especially my grandfather. He loved to piss my grandmother off. And I'm sure he paid for it during the week. Wait till you get back from dropping our grandson off. You're going to pay. I'll take my blanket and pillow with me. I'll sleep in the car. Because he could, because at that time he had a Nash Rambler. And the seats folded back. Turned the car into a bed. I loved that car. You pull the lever and the seat would fold all the way back. You had from the base of the front seat all the way to the back of the back seat. You had a bed. Those cars were originally made for traveling salesmen. That was the story behind it. Where instead of him having to get a motel room, they could sleep in the car. They didn't have shades. I don't know why they never put shades in the car, but yeah, you're going to fold the seat down and sleep in the car. God, those were the days when I remember on Route 42, like in Parma, there was a motel, and basically you pull the car up and it was just like little rooms, sleeping rooms. It was there for years. I think it was called Route 42 Motel. Of course, back in the day, they were all over the place, you know. I think it was a sleeping room with a bathroom. Like 25 cents a night or something. Motels were all over the place back in the day. Because I remember going out Route 42, there was one in Parma, and then there was one like in Strongsville, and it was just a row of sleeping rooms, basically. with a little office. Because I remember it was there, God, for years after it closed up. And of course, it become all dilapidated and that. And then they finally tore it down and they built something on the property. I can't remember what. But I remember, I don't know why we would drive out that. My grandfather, oh, we'd go out fishing somewhere. Where the hell would we be fishing? There was a fishing spot, and I remember driving up Route 42, and there was just this row of like 12 sleeping rooms, basically, with a little office, little sign, office. I think it was called Route 42 Motel, I think. God, that's going back to when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. But back in the day, they were everywhere because traveling salesmen needed a place to sleep. I couldn't see vacationers, but never know. The days before hookers. Uh-oh. They were all over. I remember not so much in town when you got on the outskirts. Because I remember Parma and then Strongsville and then Medina. Because we would take Route 42 somewhere to go fishing. And I remember driving past these little motels. And then they closed up and Motel 6s came in and they left the light on for us. I still remember that. Motel 6 will leave the light on for you. Shut the light off. I'm trying to sleep, for Christ's sake. I'm showing my age. Does Motel 6 still leave the light on for you? Motel 6. The hookers will turn the light on for you. It'll be red. Sick joke. Oh, grumpy. You nasty old man. I'm going to have to Google that and see if, although it probably isn't important enough to make Google, but I'm pretty sure it was called a Route 42 motel. But it was just a bunch of sleeping rooms. I don't even know if they had full baths in them. Probably had a sink where you could at least wash your face. Matter of fact, the parking lot wasn't even paved. I remember back in the it was dirt. Pulling off the road. Here's the key for number 8. Okay. See you in the morning. Good memories, though. Mainly the fishing trips. I can't remember where the fishing spot was. I know we took Route 42 west or south or whatever. Whatever direction Route 42 went. It seemed like we drove forever. And Grandpa and I'd be fishing away. He'd clean them as soon as I caught them. Then we get home and Grandma'd fry them up. Good memories. Good memories. Speaking of memories, we know where, right here. All right, everybody. Thanks for being here, putting up with my sorry ass. And we will meet again tomorrow night, right here. Take care, everybody. See ya. Oh, take 2. See ya. Oh, God, take 3. See ya.